Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Gonzalez. I'm an academic in the Faculty of IT at Monash University, and I would like to warmly welcome you to this IT session where you can find out where an IT career can take you. Before I start, I would like to respectfully ask you to acknowledge the Wurundjeri and Bunurong peoples of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we are meeting on today, and pay respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. I would like to warmly welcome two lovely alumni of the Faculty of IT, Sonali Kapoor, who is now working in Deloitte, and Rhea Patel, who is working at Microsoft in the US and has kindly joined us, even though it's late in the evening there. These two young ladies are going to share their experiences of a Faculty of IT degree and how they've got to the amazing jobs that they are in at the moment. So Sonali, I will start with you first. Can you tell me a little bit about your Faculty of IT journey?
Yeah, definitely. So hi everyone, I'm Sonali and I studied the Bachelor of Business Information Systems. I started about 3-4 years ago, and did you want to know, I guess, what got me to do IT?
I'd love to know that, and I'm sure all the students watching would love to know that too.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually studied IT as a Year 12 subject in high school, and I really loved it. Everything from creating websites and blogs and data warehouses to getting to have a look at also the infrastructure and the little data center we had in our school and how everything was connected. So that was a really interesting point for me. And then also, I guess, another added bonus was having a resource in my house, which is my mum, who got quite far in her IT career, started off as an enterprise architect and worked her way up to quite senior leadership roles. So I guess seeing tangible outcomes of what a career in IT can take you to was, I guess, a really motivating factor for me.
So it was lovely to be able to see that role model. But
Yeah.
I suppose one of the things you may have noticed, Sonali, when you were doing your degree, many of the students would not have done that. And in fact, many of them have not even studied IT at school at all.
Yeah, definitely.
And do it very successfully.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the really great thing about the Bachelor of Business Information Systems is they really allow you to get a broad range of experience in different range of topics. Like in high school, I only did creating some websites and blog posts, but being, I guess, exposed to this degree, I got my hands into coding and I got my hands into things that I'd never done before, never thought I could do before, but got the opportunity to try it, and that was awesome.
So that's good because IT offers such a wide range of possibilities from the very tech end to the very business end, and we really offer the full spectrum, so pretty much everything in between. And you can really, it's like a smorgasbord. You can choose whichever flavor you like, which is really nice. Now, Sonali, can you remember your first year at Monash? I know it's a few years ago. What was it like? How did you transition into Monash from high school?
I think the really great thing, so the students that I met on orientation day ended up being the same friends that I kept throughout uni, and some that I work with at Deloitte, which is awesome. And I think having that support system and having people at Monash and also teachers, lecturers, really helped me in, I guess, navigating. Everyone was really open to asking different questions and helping out at any point that I needed. And so I think I got lucky that way. I got a really easy transition in, and I always had the support that I needed, especially in the subjects that were a bit more technical and out of my, I guess, reach. The support was always provided for me. So that was really great.
Oh, that's good. And I think one thing that our faculty offers, which is fantastic, is the peer mentor program, as you said, where you get a mentor, someone who's been through it just like you, and you get a little peer mentor group as well. So you have those friends. And it's kind of cool that some of them are with you at Deloitte.
Yeah, exactly.
So you went through that process. We may now, we'll come back to you, Sonali. We'll go and say hi to Rhea. Rhea's, we don't want you falling asleep, Rhea. We know it's to the evening in the US. So Rhea, tell us about why you chose IT. How did you get into the Faculty of IT at Monash?
So just to start, hi, my name's Rhea. I studied a Bachelor of Information Technology with a double major in software development and business information systems. The reason I actually ended up getting into IT was like a bit crazy. It's like this day right here, like 5 years ago, basically. I came like year 10, I went to an open day because my sister dragged me to it, even though it was super early. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And like I went to the business faculty at Monash. She went to Monash, so that's why. Business faculty, engineering faculty, arts, like a bunch of different ones. And they were all really like exciting. But going to the IT one, I actually sat in on a presentation with Chris, actually with you. I don't think you remember me, but I was there. And she said something that was really thought-provoking for me that made me think about like the impact technology can have. And she said this thing which was more people in the world have access to a mobile phone than they do fresh water. Obviously, the fresh water thing isn't a great thing. It's probably something I should have taken out of it. But what I did take out of it was the fact that a lot of people have mobile phones. And that means that a lot of people are impacted by them, which means that if you really want to do something if you really want to impact like billions of people's lives and like do something better for the world, technology is a great place to start. It's so ingrained in like everything we do. And so like that made me really excited. And like what made me excited about Monash as like a place to go outside of just like studying the degree was the fact that like as soon as like that whole part was done, they brought up all these names of companies that Monash was partnered with, which was super incentivizing to me. Like I never thought that I could just finish uni and like not even finish it and be able to have placements at like top consulting firms or banks or anything like that. So this made it a lot easier. Sorry about the background noise. But yeah, because of that, I got into IT.
That's fantastic. So I'm glad that I had a bit of an impact. So that was lucky. And as you said, Rhea, that was interesting. Is the fact by these mobile phones that are in everybody's hands, third world countries, we have the possibility of really changing the world, of having impact. If it's not about getting water, but we can help them with how they can go about getting water. So there are lots of opportunities. And I think to the students out there listening, just realize that IT really is a part of absolutely everything we do in every country. And by being a part of that, you do have the opportunity to do whatever you wish. I mean, it's just pretty exciting. It's not just sitting in a corner and coding. And that may be one part of it, but that's one of many, many, many parts of it. Okay, Sonali, let's go back to you then. And so you're at Monash now. You've started your journey. You've got some friends because we have a great orientation program. Did you join any clubs as part of your Monash experience? Is that something that you did?
No, that's actually not something that I got involved in.
You had a great friendship circle.
Yeah, we had our own fun altogether,
which is fine.
Yeah.
And so, did you take any opportunity to do any industry experience as part of your degree?
No, so I actually ended up doing the industry experience, which was not actually going to a consulting firm or organization, but it was an in-house thing that Monash actually hosted, which was really, really exciting. So in that, I got to work with a local small Australian business, and we got to pretty much help them in creating a website. So it was amazing that we got to add value to this small business, and at the same time, I guess, meet their business needs with our IT related knowledge. So I did that in my final year as my final year project, which was super exciting.
And that's something that we're very, very proud of, because we help lots of small businesses in our local community and the not-for-profit sector. And we have, or our students have, provided millions and millions of dollars of free service, doing it pro bono to these organizations while they learn using agile techniques and approaches in developing these systems. So you use absolutely current methods to develop these systems. So they get the best, but you get to learn in a real environment as well.
Exactly. And I must say, like, I've taken that experience with me to industry, and it was pretty much identical. The same agile practices, working in a team together, having, you know, your PM, your BA, your dev, your tester, everyone in the team together. It was very, very mirrored in the real life scenario as well. So I found that super beneficial in my experience.
And that's exactly what we aim to do. That, you know, that first job's not so frightening. So
Yeah.
You then applied for a job. So was
Yes.
Deloitte your first job you applied for, or did you apply for others?
I actually got my first graduate position at Telstra in their IT program, and I ended up being there for 1.5 years, and I completed that entire program. The really cool thing about that was I got to experience 6 months 3 times around in different areas of IT. So from everywhere from IT operations to software development to project management, the works. So the experience was incredible at Telstra that I got.
So that's great, because you've had the opportunity of doing 2 wonderful experiences, and now you're in Deloitte. So let's go to Rhea now. So Rhea, tell us a little bit about your journey. You know, how did you, once you got to Monash, how was that for you?
It was really good. I actually was part of a lot of different things at university. First year was really interesting. I actually transferred from a previous university doing like a similar degree, and I found that the first semester in Monash was really challenging, but like in a good way. I felt like what I was learning was really tangible. Studied like Java and like learned assembly language in my first semester. So I felt like I could like take all that knowledge and like if I wanted to like build an app or do something really exciting, which I hadn't experienced before. So I really liked it. It was definitely challenging, but like in a good way. And then as university progressed, I felt like I wanted more of that social aspect of university outside of just making friends and things like that. So I decided to join a club. It was one of the biggest IT clubs in Monash University, and I joined as a general representative. I actually, the person that I'd replaced went to Google like a year before, and it was really exciting. So like that was the first time that I heard of like people getting into like the big tech companies, and that made me super excited because like I just couldn't fathom like that's possible from our degrees and like at Monash or like in Australia. And so that made me really excited. Through that, I got to meet like so many people who were like super intelligent. And I feel like the people you meet in societies are very like-minded and like career-focused individuals, but also like really fun to hang out with. And like I made some of my closest friends through that. During that time, I moved on to becoming an activities director. So like I organized events and things like that. But I felt like there were certain parts that I still wasn't getting from that. And so I actually decided to, with one other person who used to be part of that club, build a new club called Monash Association of Coding. The whole aim of it. Oh, sorry, Chris, were you saying something?
I just said, wow, to be a founder of
Okay.
Cool. Go on.
Yeah. So during that, me and April we both decided that like we were both like coming up into like applying for software engineering roles or PM roles and stuff like that. And like, I don't know if everyone knows this, but you have to study data structures and algorithms, and you have to be very good at them to get into these companies because that's all they care about. And so basically we started studying during the summer, and like she was studying more than I was, and she wanted like more collaboration because she felt like she just needed like people to work with for it. And then she decided to like post and get a bunch of people. And like every week it went from 5 people helping each other, 10 people, 20 people, 40 people. And then we got to like 60 people. And we looked at it and we're like, hang on, we can do something better and bigger with this. Like the fact that so many people wanted to be part of it meant that like so many people wanted to have a place to collaborate and learn. Not about like learning about from other companies or anything like that, just like building your own skill set. And so that's what like our whole goal was. And then we founded a club. We had our first meeting and we had 85 people come and sign up for our membership. And ever since then, we've gotten Microsoft, Google, Deloitte, like all these different places and all the top banks to actually sponsor us, and been able to do some really cool, impactful things for students.
And that's what's so astonishing, Rhea, that even though we've got literally hundreds of clubs at Monash, and the Faculty of IT has lots of great clubs. Someone like you can come in and see an area where there's a need, like you and April did, and start your own club, which is now Thrive. From everything I know about Mac, it's a thriving club. People love it, and it really supports our students in their coding endeavors. Now, one thing I just want to pick up on is at the start of that particular chat that we had just then, you mentioned that you transferred from another university. And one thing I want to tell all our students watching is that you may make different choices as you start your university career. You may go to another university, or you may start another course, or your ATAR may not be quite at the level to get you into Monash first up. Do not give up on your dream. You know, you can come to Monash if that's what you would like. And like Rhea, you can transfer. Like Rhea, we've chatted before, did get the ATAR, but she chose another degree and then transferred over. So it's a journey, and it doesn't matter when you join us. You know, we'd love you to come to Monash at any time. And we've had students come from TAFE, other universities, and you're welcome at any time at all.
And just, I know this is off topic, but I do want to add to what I was saying prior, is that like if you do decide to join Monash or like any other university, joining a society is very helpful towards like meeting people like you, but also learning a lot, just like social skills as well as like professional skills and like technical skills. Joining, if you guys ever end up doing IT, please join Mac. It's like the best group of people ever. I feel like the goal I feel like I've really been able to achieve, which is like to help and foster an environment for people to collaborate and like build technical skills and help each other succeed.
And you can tell them that Rhea, your friend Rhea, sent you. You're the founder, so you'll immediately be a VIP in the club for sure. Okay, guys. So now you're out in industry. Tell us a little bit about what you do. So Sonali, you tell us first. What do you actually do? What's a day in the workplace look like for you?
So because I am in consulting, what I love so much and why I guess I moved from Telstra to a Deloitte is because in consulting, you get to do a broad range of work. So it's very focused on what our clients need and I guess the skill sets that we care for to offer. With me in particular, I specialize in being a business analyst, but I also have project management, Scrum Master kind of roles as well. So all of those roles that I've just said, they're very interlinked. So if a client needs a business analyst, I can go on there. If a client needs a project manager, I can go and do that as well. Currently, I'm working for one of the largest banks in Australia, and I'm on that project at the moment as a technical BA. And I guess what I do is we've just started this project, so that's called the inception phase, where we're, I guess, having workshops with the client to understand what their current state is and what their future state they want it to look like. And then that's when I guess we come in with our expertise with certain technologies and how we can help them reach that future state.
Oh, so that's really interesting. So it's a real intersection between what the business wants and technology. So as a business analyst, it is really, you're the bridge, right, between the real technical developers and your clients. And that would be exciting with a company like Deloitte, where you're consulting to many different companies. You're really developing a range of knowledge and domain knowledge across lots of different companies.
Exactly. And before this client, I was working for a government organisation where I did program management. So program management is completely different to a business analyst in the sense that my role was more looking at financial management. So I was looking at resources, I was looking at forecasting, and I learned all these sets of managing money in a project at a program level, which is quite large. It was a $54 million gig. So I got so a lot of broad experience under my belt. And I think that's it. That's the best part about consulting, that you can have that business knowledge, but at the same time, you're learning about new technologies and what different softwares can offer, and then offering that as a service to your clients as well.
That's wonderful. And feeling that you really add value to their business. Okay, Rhea. Now, Rhea, you had a very interesting journey to Microsoft. I'd love a little bit of information about that. How did you get to Microsoft? How did you use your particular push to get there?
Sure. So I'm guessing you're referring to my internship, but I'm just going to talk about that. Basically, so right now I just want to introduce that I'm a program manager at Microsoft, which I work on this project called CloudMind, and I can explain it in a second. But the way I got into like Microsoft was that, like I said, I always wanted to work for a big tech company. I thought it was really cool, and it's everything it's hyped up to be. Just to start with that, but I saw there was an advertisement online for the Microsoft internship. It was like customer facing technology internship, very broad, didn't know much about it, but I applied. I spent like 3 days like not doing anything else but like redoing my resume, and like I had nothing on my resume. Keep in mind, I did Subway and I had retail, and that was it. And I thought I really wanted to like work at these companies. So I was very motivated. I applied for Microsoft, and all they asked for was a CV and like whether or not you're legally allowed to like work in this place. And like they get tens of thousands of applications per year, even in Australia. And so I felt like I wasn't able to articulate how much I wanted the role. And I took matters into my own hands. And I don't know if everyone has LinkedIn here, but highly recommend having LinkedIn. I use it a lot. Please add me on it if you want to connect. But basically, I decided to like look for a bunch of people at Microsoft, and I wrote this essay about why I deserve to work here and why I'd be the best person they could hire for this internship. And I like sent it to a bunch of people, like the head of like global recruiting, didn't get any messages back, and like a bunch of different people like kept getting like nothing. And then I somehow found a university recruiter for Microsoft, and he responded straight away saying, I've reviewed your resume and whatnot. I am coming down to Melbourne this week. I'd love to grab a coffee and talk further. So I was like, yes, like 100%. It was informal, but basically we got a coffee, and it was like a 20-minute coffee and turned into like an hour and a half, which was great. I thought it went well, but they didn't say that they actually had a role available because they still weren't sure on like how much budget there was for the team, because they hired one intern that year. So anyways, and I went really well. And then I waited 3 weeks, didn't hear too much back. Like he still didn't know whether or not they were going to get one. But then on like a random Friday, they were like, hey, can you come into the office? And I was like, 100%. And then, I met my manager the following week. And then after that point, I had 5 more interviews. They really put me through the ringer, but I got the role. And then I spent an entire month, an entire 12 months at Microsoft, doing part-time work whilst I was also full-time studying. And then during my holidays, like summer vacation and things like that, I did full-time work at Microsoft. So I feel like I learned a lot. It was a sales technical role. So I don't think it was like coding. Well, it wasn't coding, but I learned a lot about like how to speak to people, how to present yourself, as well as like more about the technology suites and like business strategy, which has definitely helped me in like getting my new role as a PM from like taking it from a different perspective, which is like customer focused.
That's great, Rhea, that you didn't pigeonhole yourself, that you opened yourself to every opportunity. And, we're hoping that one day we can proudly say that Rhea is the, CEO of Microsoft. And,
unlikely, but thanks for the support.
One day, maybe not tomorrow or next year, but, maybe the year after. But I think that's what we find exciting, is that there are opportunities, and that having a Monash degree, Monash IT degree, really does put you head and shoulders above the rest, because you're there. Industry love the Monash IT degrees. They think very, very highly of them, and they're ready to grab our students whenever they can. So now when we look at the young women and men watching this video, they're probably wanting some tips or tricks. What would you say to them as they're sitting there thinking, God, am I going to ever be able to do this? What would you suggest to them? What about you, Sonali? Can you tell us?
I think definitely a big tip that I would give is work experience. So even if it is retail work experience, it all counts. And that, I guess, helps you in developing your confidence, your communication skills, customer relationship skills, however you want to put it. But I think that's something that's super, super important with me, for example. So I was very busy during uni. So I was studying full time. I was working a part-time job at Apple, and I also got myself a internship at a company called Wilson Transformer Company. And there I was just doing a business analyst role in the sales team. It was very new to me, but at least it was a foot in the door, and I got to, I guess, network and understand a little bit about what industry is about. Apple really helped me in, I guess, developing me as a whole and my personality and my communication skills. And then putting those work experiences together and going for my first job interview gave me the confidence to sit in front of people and at the end of the day sell myself for the role. So I highly recommend, if you guys can, definitely try and get a part-time job and pop that on your resume.
Yeah, and this is something for parents as well, you know, when they're watching, that sometimes parents focus very much on the academic side. And while, of course, that is super important, I think both Rhea and Sonali have both worked part-time, and our industry partners absolutely love that. They really value the fact that you've put yourself out there, that you've shown that you can manage your time and study, you can do two things successfully at the same time, and that you're picking up all those soft skills that are so hard to teach. You know, you turn up to work on time, you can work in a team. And as you said, with Apple and with Subway, you're dealing with people all the time, and irritated people, you know, cranky people, calming them down. It's just like the workplace, right? Learning
Exactly.
to work in those teams and manage them. And both of you are doing project management roles. You know, managing a team can be very challenging, and you have picked up the skills right from the get-go, which is fantastic.
Exactly. And it just makes it a lot more natural when you are in the workplace, and you might come across an employee you don't get along with, but at least you have the skills to manage that. So really, really important.
And people think that only happens, you know, in school or at uni, but that happens right through life.
Exactly.
Rhea, what about you? What would be your number one tip to someone watching now, one of our students watching now?
That's a great question. I think it would just be to never give up on your dreams. So if you have something you want to go for and someone tells you you can't do it, or there's something that is stopping you, just don't give up. I feel like I've had so many obstacles along the way to get to where I am. And right now, looking at it from I'm sure what I've just told you seems like it was very simple, but there's a lot of ups and downs when you get to your career. And when you get to your degree, you might do well in some subjects, you might not do well in others. You get rejected from heaps of jobs. It's not I applied for one job and I just got it. You apply for heaps of places, and it's not always going to go your way, but you got to make sure that you just don't give up along the way.
And I think it is looking at every possible thing that happens as an opportunity, right? Even now with students studying online, you can think of it as a real drag, but what it's teaching you is about working online. And as we go, not only because of coronavirus, but a lot of organizations were moving to that way of working. So if you can successfully navigate that, that's such a positive thing to be able to do. And so find positives out of it.
I feel just to add to that, I think that something someone told me, actually a GM at Microsoft when I was an intern, was fail and fail fast and then learn fast. Yeah. It's a good thing to fail, because if you haven't failed, you've never, someone told me that you've never worked on anything that's worth any impact. So fail, because you'll learn so much from failing more than you will from success.
Absolutely. And to not let those failures just knock you about.
100%.
Back and reflect on it and think about, okay, what can I learn? How can I do this better? And we often build that into our courses. We try to, in a subject I'm teaching
make
now,
them difficult.
Absolutely, to make them challenging, but to also give our students the opportunity to reflect on things. When they do a team assignment, how could I have done that better? We kind of try to use an agile framework with that. So we have little retrospectives in some subjects where they look back and say, how could I have done this better? How can I work with this team better in future, which is also very positive. So now when you're thinking about your futures, ladies, Sonali, what's next for you? What do you think? What are we going to see from you in the next 5 years?
5 years. I think to be honest, I'm loving working in consulting. So I would hope to keep, I guess, progressing in my consulting career and hopefully becoming a manager at Deloitte in 5 years' time. I think that's a realistic goal to set for myself. Yeah.
That's cool. And what would a manager in Deloitte do?
So a manager at Deloitte, essentially, when you hit the managerial stage, you sort of stop doing the groundwork. So actually, writing user stories and test cases, it more becomes about people management. And also you enter into, I guess, bringing business in, so sales for the organization. So it is a lot more responsibility, but also you're looked at as a SME or a subject matter expert where people can reach out to you on, I guess, support and help that they would need to be able to meet their deliverables and do their job.
Yeah, so as you progress to eventually being a partner at Deloitte,
yes.
that's very doable in the next 5 to 10 years. That's what you're adding. You're adding value to Deloitte and adding mega value to your customers.
Exactly.
So that sounds like an exciting journey, and it's great that you've managed to find something you love so early, which is great.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, Rhea, we're having trouble with your technology moving in and out, so hopefully we can.
Sorry about that.
No, that's perfectly fine. So what's your next 5 years going to be looking like? Have you got a sense of what that may be?
Honestly, I actually just started my PM role a month ago, and I'm really focused on doing well on that. So my role is very I feel like it's like I have so much responsibility already, and I love that. I'm in charge of an entire product at Microsoft, and I work with the 15 software engineers in my team to build this out, and we work together, and we have designers and data scientists to work on this, and I'm basically working on a project that will get released publicly at some point, and that's super exciting. I feel like I'm learning so much. I'm learning how to I have to code in my role, and I have to learn how to learn all these new languages, speak to all these new people, and my whole role is about driving strategy and driving clarity and executing and then driving impact. So it's really exciting. I get to go to all these advisory board meetings where I have to pitch feature ideas to senior people. I did that last week for the first time and got mine approved, and that was super exciting for me because now there's the engineers are starting work on this project, and I'm helping with the technical spec and the design spec and everything like that, and then eventually rolling it out, go to market strategy all across everything. And so I feel like this is what I want to be doing. I'm not really thinking 5 years ahead. I think that like I said, something that really excited me about IT was the ability to drive impact. I feel in a big company like Microsoft, you definitely have that opportunity. Yeah. I feel as time goes on, I'll just ideally move up, but it's I just want to be in a role where I'm challenged and get to do cool things.
And you sound like you're absolutely smashing it. I think I'd love for both of you to remind the people watching as to when you graduated, because if I closed my eyes and didn't see how incredibly young both of you are, I think you'd been out in industry for 10 years. So Rhea, when did you graduate?
Fun fact, I haven't had my graduation ceremony yet. I actually just finished my classes this semester.
So just think about that. And
semester.
And you are a PM at Microsoft.
Yeah.
And you're still finishing off. And Sonali.
Well, I just finished.
Oh, yeah. You just finished. Okay. So
I just haven't had my formal graduation. I finished a month ago.
The joys of COVID, right? So that will hopefully happen soon.
Yeah.
What about you? When did you finish?
Mine was 2 years ago.
Okay. So that's astonishing, right? I mean, when I look at you girls, I just feel so incredibly proud that in some teeny, tiny way that us, the staff at Monash and our degrees have had a tiny impact on your lives. So when you make an impact, Rhea, I'll pretend that it's us having an impact on you that helped you make this amazing impact. Because it is, one of the reasons we teach at Monash is because we want to change lives. And working in the Faculty of IT allows us to do that, because our students go on to do amazing things. And yeah, I can't even begin to explain how proud we feel when we get to hear about all the different amazing things that you do. Now, if you are out there watching, if you've got any questions at all that you would like to ask Rhea or Sonali, please let us know. If you have got questions about our courses, we've got amazing booths open where you can get all your detailed questions answered about our different courses. But if you've got anything for Sonali and Rhea, please pop it in the chat and we'd love to hear from you.
I do have like one tip just really quickly.
Yes,
is
please.
it like I would personally choose a more, even if you're not coding inclined, like I didn't think I was either, like do something that's like challenging, do something that's more technical, because I feel like people always want people who can code, even if you're not actually coding in your degree, in your actual job. And like that gives you more like opportunities to get different roles versus doing something that's a little bit more business focused. No. That's my personal opinion.
That's great advice, Rhea. I think I remember reading that there was something written that every single person should learn to code because
100%.
it gives you logical thinking.
Yeah, it gives you logical thinking.
But you can do for every job.
Yeah, and like it also helps you empathize with, like if you're working in tech in any way, it helps you empathize with the people who are actually building the technology a lot more and like understand it. And that builds better relationships, but also builds your knowledge. People will have more respect for you a little bit more as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, and you're completely right. Now, what I'd like to even mention to our students or parents watching is that sometimes people think, oh, I have to be a really quiet, introverted person to do IT, or I have to be a tech person to do IT. I think it's patently obvious from watching Sonali and Rhea that anyone can do IT. It doesn't matter if you're a quieter person or you're an amazing extrovert or an amazingly introverted person. Anyone can do IT. And at Monash, we welcome everyone. And we really, really look forward to seeing you. So, ladies, we're at the end of the session. If there's any final words that you would like to say before we end.
I think, Chris, I just wanted to say, whilst you feel really proud of us and where we've come, I think it comes back to you guys as well. And just wanted to say thank you so much. I personally studied in one of your classes, systems development, and that's actually a subject that I used in a lot of my interviews to give certain examples to behavioural questions. And yeah, I think without, I guess, the basing that Monash has given us, where, it hasn't always been easy, but it's those experiences that helps you go as an individual. That's definitely what's put me in the place that I am today. And I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity that I was given, not only at Monash, but today as well. And hopefully we've inspired some students to come and join the IT program.
Oh, that's very sweet, Sonali. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you both here today. And yeah, I look forward to keeping in touch and sharing your journey. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Rhea. And
thank you so much.
To all our students watching, we look forward to seeing you in the Faculty of IT at Monash, and saying hi to you in person sometime soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.